Okay, so they already know all about you and your immediate accomplishments. So feel free to get started whenever. These guys are my students, and then another class is going to feed in.
Okay. Good morning to you all. Uh, I'll tell you how I got to where I am right now. Um, if you have any questions at any point, feel free because I work alone, so typically I don't talk this much. I'll probably talk more today than I've talked in any time recently. Um, so I was first exposed to hip hop culture in the late 70s when I heard Rapper's Delight and a couple other rap songs. And, I was kind of intrigued by it. And I was probably about 9, 10 years old at the time. But in 1983, um, we started breakdancing. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Kind of just hit the world like a sledgehammer, and everyone was breaking at the time. So even the kids in my neighborhood. So started breaking, and along with breaking came rap music. And up until that point, I listened to just regular old radio music. And once I heard Run DMC, that was it. I pretty much was in love, and I fell in love with hip hop and breaking. And I went from being a little fat kid no one paid attention to someone who I had made a lot of friends, and people kind of in hip hop they would you weren't treated anyway because of like how popular you were, or what groups you were. You got treated well based on your skill level. So first for me, learning how to break uh, got me respect, and it got me recognition. It got me girls. But after about 2 years, um, the breaking fad kind of died out pretty quickly and fast, and kind of left a void for a lot of us. And people in my neighborhood started doing graffiti, and I saw some graffiti, and I was like, "Wow, I really liked it, and that's what I wanted to do." So I started doing graffiti, and let's see, check my notes here. So yeah, for about 2 years, it was almost like training. I was drawing. Unfortunately, I was we were out stealing spray paint because we weren't old enough to buy it. Um, Painting under bridges. Uh, I got busted for painting neighbor high school that was close to my high school because I sat next to a narc, an undercover cop, and I was showing her photos of what we painted. Um, and she was there for drugs, but I didn't know any better. So eventually, I got popped, and I was screwing around in high school, really wasn't taking it seriously. And in my senior year, I kind of had to make up credits to graduate. So I I had to do something called ROP, where you work at at an actual business and you earn credits, basically so I could graduate on time. So I kind of laid off graffiti at that point, and the um, the type of ROP class I took was in retailing. And I bring that up because all these things that happened along the way in my path ended up being things that I use today in my business. So I didn't think that was going to be important at the time. I just took retailing because that was the easiest way for me to make up the credits that I kind of screwed off in my early days in high school. So after high school, I wasn't really ambitious in going to college, so I just started working. I worked at Target. I worked at my uncle's restaurant, and in '89, I started working at it's called Costco now. It used to be called Price Club, and they had a program for what they considered at-risk youth. And so I got in there somehow, and it was called the San Diego College of, again, retailing. So it wasn't because I was particularly interested in retailing. It was just a better job than the one that I had at Target at the time. So I went through the course there, graduated, worked for them for a couple years, worked in all the departments of the store. So I learned a lot of different aspects of how to run a business, a store, um, and then my notes here. Okay, so then after that, I went to a photo lab, but I worked in the photo lab at um, call it, it's Price Club. I learned how to develop photos there, and then I took that to another business called Film Express, where I continued doing like photo processing, and they eventually went out of business. And as they were going out of business, some guy came in and he's like checking out the machines because he wants to buy their machines. And he's like, "Hey man, you need a job, come check with me." So I went to his business, and I ended up working for him for 9 years, again in the photo lab industry. But what I learned there was color correcting, which is like when you take photographs, sometimes they come out with like they'll look pink, or they'll look blue, or they'll look green. So you got to learn to add colors to make things look balanced. Like how they look with your eyeball is not how they always get perceived by the camera. And and my coworker there had one day he gave me a Photoshop disc, and he's like, "Here, put this on your computer. I want you to play around with it." So I put it on my computer and started messing with it. And I really didn't think too much of it at the time. And one day someone came in and they had a photograph, and they wanted their ex-boyfriend taken out of the photograph. So he told me, take this photograph and take the person out. So I didn't really know how to do it. I took the photograph home, scanned it, was able to take the person out of the background, and just like that, it became like a good side hustle for me, where I was making a good, probably like $50 to $100 a day on doctoring people's photos, making copies of photos that people didn't have negatives to. And I kind of got good at Photoshop, and it kept working it until one point I figured out I could do graffiti on Photoshop. And that's when the light bulb switched that I could use it to create graphics. At first I was just doing photo, basically duplicates. And at all this time, my dog's over here crying if you hear something. So all this time, my partner and I had an idea to do a clothing brand, but we were trying to come up with a catchy name that we thought would resonate with people, and we could never come up with a catchy name. So we made some hats for ourselves. We had a graffiti crew. Our graffiti crew is called WildStyle Technicians. So we had made hats for ourselves, and in order to get them made, we had to make a few dozen. So we had a bunch left over, and we went to an event that they had in San Diego called the B-Boy Summit, which is a big breakdancing competition. And breaking kind of returned in the 90s. It was dead for a few years, but in the 90s it made a comeback, and it's kind of stayed back. So on the last day of the event, we took the hats that we made that we had left over, that we could only wear so many hats, and we sold every single one of them. No one asked what it stood for. They just said WST. And that's when we knew that, like, we don't even need to come up with a catchy name. We'll just run with the name that we already have, because they're buying it anyway, and they're not even asking what it means. So that's when we started kind of like behind the scenes, on our off time, creating designs, formulating ideas for the business. And at the end of 1997, so we started the business officially in 97, but we weren't really selling at that point yet. But at the end of 97, the person that I worked for, they went out of business. They basically told me on New Year's Eve that, hey, this is our last day. So I had a choice of either like going to go get another job or trying to make the business work, or like kind of just jumping in. Um, so that's what I did. I didn't have too many bills at the time. I did have some. My mom had to help me out with a few car payments, but within a few months, I was able to start paying myself, um, and start, paying my bills again on my own. And, with a $500 investment for my partner and $500 for myself, um, we were able to grow that money pretty quickly. Within like, uh, by 2003, we were doing about a half million in sales per year. Um, but times were different back then. When we started off, we were primarily selling our clothing to stores. So, things were going out in big boxes. Um, it's not like currently. So, um, yeah, it's really around this time is when I met Liz, because she was doing a documentary at the time called Breaking Boundaries, and she was interviewing my business partner. I remember she came to our office, and let's see. So yeah, we kind of modeled our business off of a local business that was kind of in the same um, in the same what do you say, genre. They're tribal streetwear. They still exist today. They're huge. Um, so we didn't like copy their artwork or designs, but we copied what they did as a business. So that's probably one of the smartest things we did, is we took someone successful and modeled ourselves after them. So we saw them going to trade shows, so we went to trade shows. We saw they had a catalog, so we made a catalog. And website. We had a basic website at the time. We started sponsoring dancers, having people wear our stuff out. And then let's see. So in about like I said, at about 2003, I wouldn't say we peaked, but we're doing pretty well at that point. Most of them, I mean, at least sales wise, we're doing pretty more than we ever really imagined that we would be doing. But this is the time when the internet definitely had taken off, but people weren't really buying online at this point. And one of the best things I did, which is probably why I'm still around today, is I started working on creating an online store. Like I said, at this point, people weren't really buying online yet. They didn't trust putting their credit card into on the internet. But and I remember my business partner looking at me like, "What the hell are you, like? What are you doing?" Like, because I was spending all this time creating an online store. But around 2008, the market crashed, and we went into a recession. So at first, I was like, this doesn't affect us. Our customers don't own homes. They're still buying merchandise. And it was true for maybe about a year or two. But then what I didn't take into account is that a lot of our store customers, they did own homes. And so a lot of the stores that sold their merchandise went out of business. So now all of our business, or most of our business, was starting to come from online sales through the online store. So yeah, so that pretty much is where I'm at today, where like I would say 95, if not even higher percentage, comes directly from online sales. And this is not just the United States. This is pretty much everywhere except the countries that we're not allowed to ship to. So and around so that the switch to online kind of went from like 2009 to 2010. In 2011, um, I started doing business consulting for other businesses, doing freelance artwork, um, and I eventually got a consulting position with a place called Writer's Block, which is a local graffiti park where anyone could come paint graffiti, and they had a bunch of walls in the back. And my job was to help them learn how to how to actually make some money to sustain the program. So I went there, um, helped them, do the basic things like merchandise your store, buy spray paint, buy markers. Um, Felt they had this whole place in the back where people could paint, but they weren't throwing events, which generates money. So um, I kind of had to start doing that on as part of my position. So I started organizing events and promoting events. And up until this point, I've really been more of a background person. I let my business partner kind of take the be the voice of things, and I was kind of the one on the computer in the back getting things done. And but I really enjoyed organizing these big events. I get a big high when we have them, and I'm high for a few days afterwards. And then when it's done, I want to do it again. So that position lasted for a few years, and in 2015, um, after my consulting position had come to an end there, I pitched to a local school called the Mac Community Charter School in Chula Vista to throw another graffiti event there because really, I just like throwing events. Um, but I pitched it as a way so that it would be a fundraiser for their school. So we could have our event and paint, and the school makes money, and everybody wins. So they like the idea, and we've been doing it since 2015 every year, minus 2 years when COVID happened and they couldn't really have events. So around 2014 or so, I started looking into this new technology that was coming around. It was called DTG, which is direct garment printing. Um, it's basically like a huge printer that prints on T-shirts. But at the time, I wasn't really sold on the technology. The prints were kind of small. The sample that they had made me at the time washed out of the T-shirt after a few washes. But in 2019, I started looking into it again um, because of the fact that um, getting things screen printed the way I had done for most of the time when I was in business was becoming very expensive. Like to put one design out on about 300 shirts was costing me about $3,000. And a lot of the times I was putting a design out and I wasn't taking pre-orders. I was just doing it like I think this will sell. I was doing it on the confidence, and sometimes you make a couple mistakes or you bite off a little more than you can chew, and then you're kind of twiddling your thumbs for 6 months because you can't get anything else made because you still got to pay off your printers for the last jobs. So I had gone to a trade show to look at machinery, and I stopped at the Brother booth, and they had called me back, and I went there to go check out one of their machines and ended up biting the bullet. And that's pretty much where I'm at today. I print everything from my house in the garage. Um, it's been a blessing and a curse. To be honest, like it produces really beautiful prints. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into at the time in terms of how much time it takes to print the t-shirts, to prepare the t-shirts. So that's a challenge I'm still dealing with today. I'll show you my printer in a moment here, but I also during my time, I forgot to mention at Writer's Block, we did some pretty big art shows. So I started doing a lot more art shows, a lot of murals, because I had to branch out because the clothing business wasn't as good as it was in the early 2000s when we were selling a lot to stores. Now, instead of selling wholesale boxes of 60 shirts, 100 shirts at a time, I'm sending like 2 shirts to this house, 3 shirts to this house, a couple hoodies and a hat to this person. But yeah, I had to learn to diversify, and so this is the first catalog that we made. This is from 1999.
Izzy, you're doing awesome, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So, these are like the t-shirt page. I got my thumb over the camera. You can see that there's a lot of designs there. I kind of marvel at how quickly this came together because at this point we'd only been in business like about 2 years, to be honest. So, but yeah, using the skills that I learned at the photo lab, I was able to like take photos and edit them nicely. And I found some models that would, some friends use, and the same with these right here. I had helped someone do a catalog for tribal, and as I helped them, I kind of was able to kind of see their techniques on how they shot products and use that for my own catalog. And so while I'm in here, I'll show you some of the artwork I currently make, and some of these are designs. So some of these go back to like this top one's 1987. This one's 1987. I think this one is 1986. But some of these are more recent, like these right here that are cut out. I did those in 2019, I believe. And then something like this right here was actually printed on my printer. So yeah, I'm able to print on canvases. Well, and I'll take you out there and show you that operation.
Izzy, I was showing him this record.
Okay. Yeah.
I was kind of passing that around and showing him how you did that as well.
Yeah, that was a design that we had dropped in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I colorized it and printed it on a record for the art show that Liz had at the record store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's really the fun part of having this printer is like, I can't print on everything, but figuring out how to print on different things. If I can get my artwork on something, I can sell it. It's really what it boils down to. So this is my print room. It's kind of a mess, but this is the printer that I use right now.
So everything's out of his house.
Yeah.
Oh, we got about 15 minutes too, and then it's gonna cut us off.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So on this printer, I do primarily t-shirts, but also hoodies. I learned how to make transfers with the printer, which really wasn't the thing when I bought the printer. It's not something that anyone was using it for, but somebody figured out how to do it and they put it on YouTube. And I followed the steps, and I do those as well now. And I'm probably the only person who does this. I use the printer to make stickers. I print posters, even though it's really not designed for those things. And I also have here a plotter where I cut vinyl, and then I can cut stickers if I want like stickers that are cut to shape. I print them on my printer and put them on here, and there's registration marks, so the laser here can like figure out where it is and then cut around the design. I have all my blanks here, not all of them, but I keep a stock of blanks here for orders. But basically orders come in through my website. I got to pull the blanks off the shelf, put a sticker on them, what goes on what, and sometimes I'm constantly ordering shirts online, or I have to go pick them up locally, which is where
you got a 2X blank in there, hoodie.
Not a 2X. No, I need to get one for you. That one's a 3.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I still paint a lot. So I have, you know, things of spray paint all over here intermixed with my orders. These are hoodies that are ready to print. I'll probably print these today. And this is like an order that is sitting here. I gotta package this up. Boxes of stickers. You know, I throw in stickers with each order. Just try and make sure the customer gets a little bit more than what they were than what they were expecting. I don't tell them that they're going to get free stuff, but I feel like it's a good thing if they get their order and they open it. It's like, oh shit, I got some extras in here for for what I paid for. Because shipping is expensive. I don't sell the shirts for super cheap, but they're not super expensive either. Here's some of the transfers I had shown you, or I had mentioned earlier. So these I ordered the film from Amazon, print on the film, and there's like a powdered glue that you put on the back while the ink's still wet, and this prints on a shirt, or you just press it to a shirt using a heat press, like this one right here. So this is really where it goes down right here. Yeah, it looks pretty chaotic. I have these are all like different chemicals that apply to depends on what color shirt I'm printing on. If it's a black shirt, then it's going to get this chemical here. If it's a white shirt, it's going to get this one or this one, depending on which ink colors. So, I wish I could just sit around and do designs all day and do artwork. But since I've gotten into this printing thing, I've had to tackle this and learn a lot of things about how to print the garments. And it's cool, but it definitely takes a lot of time.
Yes. Hey, a couple questions, and then do you still have that storage unit? Like, do you still have all the storage unit in the front?
Yeah.
It'd be cool maybe to show them, I don't know how full it is, to show them all that you have stored.
There's some stuff in there. The only thing is I'm afraid that if I go in there, I might lose the connection. But I can try.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have some questions, I know, too.
Okay. Sure.
I was wondering, is when you do graffiti with the lettering, is it like do you prep the lettering? Is it its own font? Is it unique to everything? The lettering is really cool to me.
So, for the most of the time I've been a graffiti artist, we would always draw things in advance. We call it an outline. So I would draw things on paper, and I would have like a kind of like go to the wall with a plan. Over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I've gotten a little bit better at just like freestyling is what they call it. So like I just go up to the wall and I just kind of, whatever mood I'm in is the style I'm going to paint, so I kind of let my body get into it, and I fling the lines like this, and usually that works out pretty well. But like, yeah, these are like these are like some sketches. I'll put some of these in front of here. So I kind of, I used to sketch with paper a lot, like paper, pencil and paper, and I was very meticulous and do things really clean and use rulers. And I've gotten a little bit impatient as I've gotten older. And one of the things that actually helped my drawing, so I got in a car accident in 2017, I think. I got rear-ended, and it broke my thumb. And so I wasn't able to like draw as like carefully as I was before. I kind of had to draw from the shoulder, but really that's what art teachers tell you to do anyway, because you're supposed to like kind of just go from here. So like it actually made my drawing better in the long run. But yeah, here's another sketch. Actually, this one's on t-shirts.
Yeah, he's like crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're asking how old your daughter is? Daughter?
Oh, my daughter?
Daughter? Or doctor?
He said his daughter was crying.
Dog.
Oh, I was like, oh, okay.
No, dog. I was like,
My dog. She's like about a year old. She's a big baby. She doesn't know what's going on, so she's trying to figure it out. But yeah, I learned to draw pretty decent, just by kind of mimicking what I saw the graffiti artists in New York doing, like from my early exposure through like videos and magazines. Back in the '90s, like in the we did, the internet really wasn't big back then, so like we would have to go to like the record stores where they had graffiti magazines and know which day the shipments came in, and we would find a magazine that we liked and we would kind of like go hide it somewhere where no one could find it so we can come back on payday and buy it. um, but yeah, one of the things that's it always like amazes me, is that graffiti is really a New York thing. That's where this style of graffiti started. And being, from San Diego, you don't expect the clothing line like mine to really come up and like kind of dominate. But we were able to do it. And we've kind of, it would take a long time for someone to catch up with all the stuff that we've done over the years, because I've been doing it for 27 years now. And, Tribal does their thing. They're still around, but they're more about tattoos and lowriders. And it's a little bit of a different culture. They did, we're what we call b-boys. We're about breaking, graffiti, rapping, DJing, and that's what we know. That's what I kind of stick to, at least on my designs. One moment here. So here's one of the hats. This is sitting here for an order. It's an embroidered hat.
It's gonna shut us off in 4 minutes. Anybody? A question? Big question?
This is another catalog. I think this is 2002. So we've really only been in business for about 5 years at the time, and things kind of escalated quickly.
And then you designed that as well, correct? That's all you.
Yeah, I did this catalog, and I was doing one catalog a year for a number of years. And I honestly, I look back and I don't know how I did it. It's just like, because this takes a crazy amount of work. But I was younger, I had more energy. Definitely something you want to take advantage of. These are like all t-shirt designs, probably hard to see on there. Mixed in some of my graffiti photos into the catalog, give it some flavor. Headwear and accessories, beanies, headbands, bandanas, girl stuff, and backpacks, travel bags, posters, stickers, and of course, good old graffiti supplies: markers, ink, spray paint tips. So yeah, as our money grew, we were able to add these other things that we knew people would want. And yeah, so we just started branching out, adding more stuff to the website. This is like another hat that I have sitting here that I got to ship out for an order, embroidered. This is like a 3D puff embroidery. And here is a travel mug.
Oh, you can throw one of those in with the hoodie. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Dude, that's tight. I didn't know you were doing those.
Yeah, I actually baked these in my oven.
Wow.
So
What? Okay, we got like a minute and a half, Izzy.
okay. I don't have my key. I was gonna say I can take you out to the storage. But yeah, yeah, I probably can't make it out there that quickly.
Okay, no, that's right.
So here's a canvas print of one of the designs. So yeah, I really enjoyed sharing this with you. Hopefully you got something out of it. I would like to say probably like if you guys want to do something like this, you can do it. Like whatever you can think of, you can really achieve, but you really have to have the desire to get it done. And that's one thing I had on my side. I had a really a burning desire. Even when I was working at the photo lab, I wanted to do clothing. Years before I did clothing, I was painting my clothes in high school. Just buying like we buy like Fila brand T-shirts, which are like a popular shoe brand at the time, and we paint our own characters on there. So, yeah, it was a. It's been a lifelong dream, really. So,
Well, thank you so much, Izzy. I think we got a wrap, but we can't thank you enough. Can you guys all say thank you?
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll send you a copy. And
Okay.
we'll be in touch. You did perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, good day. Bye.
Great. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Izzy.
Bye. Oops. There we